speedrunner is on their way to create their new world. We can clearly see two worlds they've made in the past, Oijgorjgoijurg and Babachu, which I think is the close relative of the Babadook. So the speedrunner creates their new save file, calling it world record, and they put the difficulty on hard, which really isn't necessary, but you know what? I got respect for them. So we have the pleasure of listening to this very beautiful music while the game is loading up, and then there is just a very abrupt cut where the speedrunner is looking down at the ground. They're selecting the third slot in their inventory. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they edited this in Windows Movie Maker. As soon as the speedrunner turns around, there is an altar with an ender chest on it, and the speedrunner is looking around as if like, oh yeah, I don't see this goofy structure I made behind me. You know, what's good around here? There's some trees, there's some grass, the air. Lightning starts striking the ender chest, and then the speedrunner opens the chest, and there is a netherite sword in it named Axe Body Spray. So now I'm getting the feeling that this is one of those speedrunners who's just being random for the sake of being random. Anyways, the speedrunner gets the sword and they walk away. But hang on a second, did you see that just a split second ago? I'm sorry, but what is that? Is that one of the clouds from the Super Mario Brothers games? Did the speedrunner think that it was gonna blend in with the birch trees and we weren't gonna question it? Well, it doesn't matter. In front of them, the speedrunner finds a ruined nether portal. It's looking a little strange, but you know what? Maybe it's believable. I'll give him a chance here. Nope. Okay, so in the chest is 64 TNT blocks. They just right-clicked it, separated it perfectly in two, and then put them in two different spots. This guy's a big stinky cheater. I'm not really sure why, but the speedrunner uses the TNT blocks to build a staircase up to the nether portal, which is like literally playing with fire. That is the stupidest thing someone could do, but okay, I'm gonna roll with it. They use their flint and steel to light the nether portal, and the fire is just like glitched. The fire is not firing right now. And then out of nowhere, I hear the speedrunner say, Herobrine! He calls out to Herobrine. Well, it turns out that the nether portal had one crying obsidian on its frame, and then it disappears and turns into real obsidian. And now the nether portal works. So when the speedrunner enters the nether, there is no loading screen. This is very goofy. But if I freeze frame here, tell me if you notice anything unusual on the screen. Yeah, that's right. There is a second nether portal. What's going on here, buddy? I think you got some explaining to do. And then just playing the speedrun a few seconds more, they are directly above a nether fortress. So I'm just trying to put two and two together here, but it's possible they spawned into one nether portal and made it look like they spawned directly above the nether fortress. I don't know. Well, the speedrunner's next dilemma here is that the nether fortress is right there, blaze rods ripe for the picking. The problem is that if they drop down there, they are going to die. And that's when the speedrunner opens up the chat box. Creative mode, survival mode, invisibility, leaving and joining the game. Aren't they speedrunning on a server? And that's when this happens. Yeah, they're just slamming on their keyboard, going into creative mode, then going into survival mode. And the footage cuts to them being next to a blaze spawner. If you can even consider this a blaze spawner. Yes, that is in fact their friend with a blaze skin on, goofing around. So you know what? Maybe there's a reasonable explanation for this. The blaze gives them blaze rods, and then in true fake speedrun fashion, they fly off into the distance and disappear into the lava. But then there is another sudden cut, and come on. A player with the same username approaches them, but this time with a piglin skin. You couldn't have, I don't know, put in the effort to just hide their username. Well, the speedrunner gives them a single golden nugget, and then the piglin starts shaking its head, saying no. The piglin throws the two golden nuggets back at the speedrunner. Then the speedrunner gets mad. They hit the piglin. The piglin hits the speedrunner with their sword, and then you are never going to expect this twist of events. The speedrunner gets out the Axe Body Spray and massacres the piglin, and there's ender pearls all over the ground. That was more dramatic than one of those popular dating TV shows. After another sudden cut, the speedrunner suddenly has a full stack of obsidian blocks, and then they attempt to create a nether portal to return to the overworld. But like every bad fake speedrunner, they create a true abomination. Well, anyways, it just gets weirder. The speedrunner returns to the overworld, and in front of them is a marble staircase leading up to the sky, I have no idea what to expect here. After the speedrunner goes up the staircase, there's a sign in front of them that says low budget with a sad looking face. Could not finish house. And behind them is their friend playing the role of Herobrine now. So I'm not really sure what the point of this is, because Herobrine just starts tossing netherite blocks at the speedrunner, and then the speedrun footage cuts to them being in a village. The speedrunner approaches a villager with a very large unibrow, and somehow the budget for this fake speedrun really ramped up because there's voice acting now.
Welcome to my loving, beautiful village. Isn't it beautiful? Enjoy your stay.
Well, the speedrunner breaks out the axe body spray, kills the villager, and there's a sudden cut to them destroying the village? I don't know what is happening here. After completely destroying the village, the speedrunner is searching the rubble, and beneath them, they find a hole. The speedrunner drops down into this hole, and oh my goodness, I cannot believe it, they found the stronghold. No, this is the Walmart Great Value version stronghold. Now, maybe to the untrained eye, you wouldn't see the difference, but me, I'm a professional, and this is painful. At which point, the speedrunner says this.
Bro, how am I gonna take out the crystals?
How am I gonna take out the crystals? Then this goofy sounding music starts playing, and their friend disguised as Herobrine starts running around, flying in the sky, breaking the end crystals for them. After that, the speedrunner says this.
What am I gonna do about my time?
What am I gonna do about my time? At which point, the speedrunner is led by Herobrine to a structure I have never seen before, a time machine. So they go inside of this structure, their timer disappears, they got a goofy video effect on the screen, and now their timer is reset to 0. Even then, with all of this cheating and being so bad at the game, having this wildly overpowered sword, the speedrunner still cannot kill the Ender Dragon. Yeah, it flies away before they can get anything more than 2 hits in on it. So the speedrunner hands over axe body spray to Herobrine, at which point Herobrine is flying around in the sky, chasing down the dragon like Tom and Jerry, and the speedrunner beats the game in 44 seconds. I don't know what it is, but that wee gets me every time. Now listen, before I start this next speedrun, I'm just gonna preface by saying I am terrified. They're playing in windowed mode. They're speedrunning Minecraft 1.7. They've got a mini-map on the screen. These are red flags. This guy is up to no good. As soon as I start the speedrun, they are already on their way into the nether. Okay, I'll just roll with this. Let's see what happens. Their computer must be a potato PC because it just takes such a long time to load. When the speedrunner is in the nether, even though they're in survival mode, they are flying around, which I have no idea how, but they come across this chest, and in the chest they find an M42 nuclear catapult. This one was legit. I am not messing with this speedrunner. The speedrunner spawns into their world, and they are selecting the last slot in their inventory. As well, they're in creative mode. Buddy, how obvious can you be? They even approach this tree and break it in creative mode. Then they realize, oh, darn it. Okay, no one's gonna believe this. I'm gonna have to reset everything. So there's a sudden cut. They have a block of wood in their inventory. They go up to the tree again. They're still in creative mode. So they break the grass beneath them, put the block away, and then with no cuts whatsoever, they put themselves back into survival mode, and now the speedrun begins. Yeah, this is gonna be painful to watch. So the speedrunner breaks the tree in front of them, getting 2 logs, and when they turn around, there is a ruined nether portal directly behind them. At which point, the speedrunner says something very suspicious.
Wait, if my calculations are correct, the chest should be right here.
If my calculations are correct, the chest should be right in here. This guy is full of baloney. I don't know why a chest would be behind dirt blocks. That is just ridiculous. Hey? Yeah, so they find a chest, and there is a lot of stuff in it. A golden sword with more enchantments on it than I have videos posted on my YouTube channel. Enchanted golden apples, armor, a flint. So they get their loot, and come on, are you kidding me? There's a village right next to them too? This is very unbelievable, but you know what? I'm gonna give them a chance here. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think I've ever seen a staircase like this in a village house, but I could just be acting paranoid. paranoid. I'm honestly not sure now. They go into this house, they get spruce logs, potatoes, bread. So with some of these new materials the speedrunner found, and after breaking some beds, they make a crafting table, they make an iron pickaxe, and they make a shield. Then the speedrunner says this.
I think we have to mine down, guys, to get stone.
I think we gotta mine down so we can get some stone. Yeah, you know what? That seems pretty reasonable. Nothing conspicuous about that. Yeah, it's Diamond Palooza over here. This is not possible. Sorry to burst your bubble. So the speedrunner uses their newfound diamonds to make a diamond helmet and a diamond chest plate, and leggings, and booties. At which point, the speedrun footage suddenly cuts. It says set own game mode to survival, and there is suddenly 2 iron golems in front of them. Out of nowhere, the speedrunner has the strength status effect, and they one-shot both of these iron golems with their bare hands. So the speedrunner uses their new iron to craft a bucket, even though they already had a bucket. Yeah, this is definitely one of the sloppiest fake speedruns I have ever witnessed. Well, it doesn't matter. The show must go on. The speedrunner goes back to the ruined nether portal. They place their single obsidian block in the portal. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what they were intending here. You are not gonna believe what happens. Let me just show you. Yeah, the footage is cut to them having obsidian blocks in their inventory, and they're just building another portal. But the speedrunner, even though they are cheating, still does not understand what the correct shape of a nether portal is. Buddy, there is a big difference between a square and a rectangle. I'm just putting that out there. Also, who is Cleesus?
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Who in the world is Cleesus? Okay, yeah, this is painful. So the speedrunner fixes their nether portal, they light it, and now they're entering the nether. Everything seems normal. They're walking around, they're trying to find something. Maybe a nether fortress, maybe a bastion, right? Until you hear them say this.
Jesus Christ, John, I thought you knew where the bastion was.
Yeah, now I got some serious questions. Who is John? Well, after exploring for a while, the speedrunner reaches a dead end, and in their frustration, they say this.
If you can't do it, I will. That made this look real.
Yeah, if you can't do it, I will. So the speedrunner is typing /game mode creative, but the footage cuts to behind the scenes footage that I don't think we were meant to see. Yeah, the speedrunner is in spectator mode, floating around trying to find a nether fortress.
Oh, it's literally right here. What are you doing, John?
Whispering under his breath, what are you doing, John? I don't think that part was meant to be in the final cut. There is another sudden cut. The speedrunner digs down, and they drop right into a blaze spawner. The speedrunner kills 1 blaze, they get 3 blaze rods. This is very outlandish. They kill a second blaze, they get 3 more blaze rods. And 6 blaze rods is more than enough. In fact, it's perfect. But the speedrun cuts to this hulking mass of blaze rods directly in front of them. Come on, buddy. But it gets worse. When they turn around, there is an army of blaze in front of them. Alright, so the speedrunner gets as many blaze rods as they could possibly desire. And if I fast forward the speedrun here, you can see that not walking a very long distance, they are able to find a bastion very quickly. So the only thing I can comment about this is that this seed must be very, very lucky. At this point, we are just about to witness the speedrunner getting very frustrated about being unable to make a crafting table.
I've done so, guys, so we need to get in there. Oh, then the crafting table. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, crafting dysfunction. It happens to the best of us, buddy. The speedrunner puts themselves into creative mode, angrily muttering under their breath about John.
Jesus Christ, Michael, can't do. You do one gosh dang job. Flip. I can't speak. Oh, where's the flip? Is that you get in? How do you get in? Hey guys, we found the gold blocks. This is gonna be easy peasy speedrun.
And then yeah, just like that, out of nowhere, the footage is cut and they're in the bastion. So the speedrunner mines these golden blocks, and then after exploring more of the bastion, they find a piglin to trade with. They give this piglin 81 gold ingots, and the speedrunner gets 80 ender pearls in return for their trade. And let's be real here, we know this is extremely fake. I'm not even gonna waste my time doing the math here. This percentage, that percentage. This guy is a phony baloney. The percentages do not matter. The speedrunner tries making blaze powder. I don't even think they know how to do that. And you can see in their inventory, they have 4 blocks of obsidian right now. But then there is an extremely sudden cut. They have a full stack of obsidian, and now they're making a nether portal. After creating this nether portal, they go into their inventory trying to find a flint and steel, and just listen to this freak out where they think they don't have flint and steel, but they do. It's just goofy.
Okay, Skit, I want. Oh, I do. Okay.
All right, well, anyways, the speedrunner lights the nether portal. They return to the overworld. Somehow, by some miracle, they find a way to create blaze powder, and they make their Eyes of Ender. Now that the speedrunner has Eyes of Ender, all they need to do is throw the ball in the sky and follow their balls. But the speedrunner says this.
Okay, we just use some triangulation.
They need to do some triangulation. Now, for anyone who isn't aware, that is actually a professional speedrunning strategy. And it's not important because this guy tries to do it, and it is the funniest thing in the world. They start changing the brightness in their game. They open up the Minecraft store by accident. They change their field of view.
Oh, flop. Gonna use some triangulation here. If I throw this pearl. Oh, yeah. 3 plus 45. Okay.
And then, yeah, they say 30 plus 45. Okay. Yeah, that math checks out. That sounds about right. Sounds like triangulation to me. You know, isosceles, obtuse, right angle. Yeah, triangulation. Then the speedrun footage cuts to more behind the scenes footage that I don't think was meant to see the light of day. I know this is painful. I know it's difficult to get through, but the speedrunner gets into the village. They toss an Eye of Ender and it goes down. So naturally, the speedrunner begins digging down to reach the stronghold, right? Well, the next series of events are so confusing. I'm gonna need someone to help me to understand here.
Oh yeah, guys, there's a new method where I found. You can literally just mine all the way down with one punch. With your fist. Oh, look. Oh my gosh, guys, it's working. Oh, we're gonna die.
That voice crack was priceless. Relish. Gosh. Yes, the speedrunner dies by accident, at which point there is another cut. They have tons of stuff in their inventory, and they're suddenly back in the stronghold with pants in their hands. Well, the speedrunner finds the portal room, they fill the portal with eyes, and they enter the end. Hang on a second though, why are they just standing there? Yeah, I guess the speedrunner's taking a moment for some deep breathing exercises. Or he's stalling. There's only one way to find out. The speedrunners, in the end, they're doing fantastic. They're breaking the crystals and they die. And after billions of sudden cuts, oh my goodness, is that Herobrine? Yeah, that is a floating armor stand with Minecraft Steve's face on it.
No way, guys, it's not Herobrine. It's Herobrine. No way, Herobrine. No way. Oh my gosh, guys, Herobrine's gave me creative mode.
The speedrunners given creative mode, they are flailing like a fish out of water. With all this cheating, they are still unable to kill the dragon, even with Minecraft Stove helping them. And yeah, just like that, they beat the game. I have a migraine now. I'm gonna go take a nap.
We did it. I got COVID.
This speedrunner spawns right in front of a village. You will not believe it. The player is walking towards the village. Fantastic spawn. Then they say this.
Strong focus on what I want.
And wow, face to face with a golem. This speedrunner's got some real gabagools on them. They say, I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. They kill the golem and get iron ingots. And then at a world record pace of 20 seconds, they dance with the iron ingots, craft it into a water bucket. And I personally have never seen this technique before in Minecraft speedrunning. They throw their water bucket at a lava pool, and holy cow, it turns into a nether portal. That was amazing. So the speedrunner enters the nether at a world record pace of 30 seconds, and then from there, they use never before seen techniques to traverse across the nether, and the speedrunner literally falls into a nether fortress.
Oh, my back!
How lucky is that? This speedrunner is so good, they are killing the wither and the blaze without even needing to touch them. How is this possible? I don't know. They get their blaze rod and sprint back to their nether portal. And from there, now that the speedrunner is in the overworld, somehow, I don't know how, someone's gonna have to explain this to me so my peanut-sized brain will be able to understand. They summon a stronghold in the middle of the sky. The speedrunner explores the stronghold with just so much swagger. The speedrunner says door, the door opens. Then they find the portal room and oh my goodness, it's a 12-eye? That is unbelievably lucky. So they jump into the portal, entering the end.
Damn!
The speedrunner breaks the end crystals, and with the power of James Brown, they defeat the Ender Dragon.
Now dig on this.
Now wait a second though, what does that mean? Dig on this? They're somehow turning back their speedrun timer. How is this possible? And just like that, the speedrunner beats Minecraft in a world record 1 minute and 0.78 seconds. And no, this was not the wrong footage. This speedrun is definitely promising. They're in survival mode, nothing fishy going on here. There is a CapCut watermark on their their screen, and they are playing in windowed mode, which definitely makes me doubt if they are a true gamer. Who plays in windowed mode? Come on. But the speedrunner does say this before they begin speedrunning.
This is not fake. Trust me.
Yeah, this is not fake. I'm sorry, but if anyone says trust me, I'm automatically not gonna trust them. As soon as the speedrun starts, their timer starts at 1.25 seconds. Why it doesn't start at 0, I don't know. So the speedrunner jumps down, taking tons of damage, and they immediately start attacking this iron golem, and then they die. But you know, it's fine, their timer's still going. When they respawn, it's very clearly cut because they've already taken damage, they already have experience points. Oh, brother. So the speedrunner begins attacking the iron golem again, and they die again. Whoop-de-doo, I am not surprised by that. Again, there's another very sloppy cut. The speedrunner cannot spawn at an angle like this. Why are they cutting the footage? Also, I gotta say, while they are breaking this wood, I love how they have the most dramatic cinematic music playing in the background.
Alright, here we go. Hurry.
You're breaking wood, buddy. This is not anything earth-shattering. Anyways, the speedrunner creates a crafting table. Then the speedrunner creates a wooden axe. But while they're doing that, take a look at the top left corner of their screen. Their speedrun timer is not actually a real timer. It's just a screen recording of a YouTube video of a speedrun timer. So every time their speedrun timer gets to 1 minute, they just replay the same screen recording every minute. This is so goofy. I cannot bring myself to believe that this is real. Anyways, the speedrunner jumps back down, they start attacking the golem again, and after showing their lovely skill and agility by missing the golem, and surprisingly not dying, they do actually end up killing the golem. But as soon as they drop down to pick up their 4 iron ingots, there is the most obviously hilarious cut, where after the cut, there's just this sloppy pile of random nonsense in front of them on the ground, and they didn't even take the time to cut out the segment where they're switching to survival mode. So yeah, they got iron ingots, they got a netherite sword, a netherite chest plate, and eyes of ender. Oh my Lanta, you're not fooling anybody. Well, the speedrunner tosses one of their eyes of ender, and then they approach this large pile of hay. After breaking 2 blocks of hay, you can hear them slamming on their laptop keyboard, switching into creative mode.
But first, we need to get some hay bales.
And I guess they just forgot to cut this part out where they're shamelessly in creative mode, giving themselves a stack of hay. All the while, their speedrun timer has reset and it's now just showing YouTube. And it's like they're following a script. He goes right back into it saying, okay guys, we got our hay bales.
Alright guys, we just collected the hay bales.
This is probably some of the worst editing I have ever seen, ever. Well, their 1 minute speedrun timer is back on the screen. They throw another eye of ender and all of a sudden the speedrun footage is just in fast forward motion while the timer is still going at the same pace. The speedrunner approaches a tree with beehives on it and they start attacking the beehives. Why? I do not know. I cannot tell you. They get very close to dying until there is just another shameless cut where the hive is gone, the bees are gone, they're in creative mode, and there's more netherite gear just hanging out on the ground chilling. While the speedrunner goes back into survival mode, revealing that they have 1.5 hearts, and then they're back on their script. But their game audio is so loud, you can't hear a single word that they are saying. It is hilarious.
Oh my god! Oh, look at it!
I am so genuinely confused. The speedrunner then puts down a crafting table and they start making bread in the slowest way possible. This is so wildly inefficient, but okay, let him cook. And then I guess to make up for the fact that he just wasted so much time being inefficient about crafting bread, the video is sped up again. They go into creative mode, throwing tons of eyes of ender. Then finally they break down and start typing the /locate command. Yeah, that's when you know you are desperate. They type in stronghold, but the game is saying there is no structure. Then they type in end portal. This speedrunner just cannot win. When is he gonna catch a break? The guy is throwing so many eyes of ender, it has become an ASMR video at this point. Until finally the speedrunner strikes gold. They realize, okay, I must be directly above the stronghold. They go back into survival mode and just resume their goofy script, acting like none of that ever happened.
I got somebody.
Hang on a second though, what in tarnation just happened? They were digging down, they were clearly right above the stronghold, then all of a sudden there's this random cut. It's the next day, and they have end portal frames in their inventory. Unfortunately, this segment was cut out of the speedrun. What happened in between, we're gonna go the rest of our lives never knowing. Well, anyways, the speedrunner creates the end portal, filling it with eyes, and they enter the end. And I'm not sure how or why, but when they get into the end, they full screen Minecraft. Buddy, you couldn't have done that like 5 minutes ago? This is probably one of the most cursed things I've ever experienced. Building up onto the top of the island with end portal frames. Like a true beginner, the speedrunner just starts looking at all of the Endermen, and their game audio is so loud compared to their microphone audio that you can just hear their muffled screams underneath the yelling of the Endermen.
Oh, why are there
And with barely half a heart left, they panic and give themselves creative mode. Now that the speedrunner's in creative mode, they're just flying around willy-nilly, breaking all the end crystals. You cannot hear a single thing. Their game audio is cranked up to 11 with the bass boosted to 25.
Are you Enderman? I'm just trying to the fastest speed run.
And after they finish destroying all the end crystals, they shamelessly give themselves a water bucket, go into survival mode, and then they even have the gabagools to set their world spawn. So the speedrunner tries jumping off of the obelisk and doing a water bucket clutch, and they die. No surprise there. Now hang on a second, after they respawn, the set world spawn command didn't even work. If I go frame by frame, they clearly spawn in the overworld. So now the speedrunner is magically back in the end. They put themselves into survival mode and they pick up all of the items that they lost when they died. Well, this is it. No more fooling around. The speedrunner is locked and loaded. They're on their way to the Ender Dragon to destroy this thing legitimately, and they're in creative mode again. Just spamming beds, and their game audio is so loud that you cannot hear a single thing. It is hilarious. After the Ender Dragon dies by completely natural causes, the speedrunner puts themselves back into survival mode, and you know what? What's a creative mode? I didn't see anything fishy about this speedrun. The beginning of this speedrun seems very, very legitimate. Loading screen looks good, they got a timer, they load into their world, they're selecting the first slot, but if we zoom out here, come on, they're not looking straight ahead, which is a major red flag. The speedrunner spawns directly in a village, and they immediately enter one of the houses. Inside, opening a chest, and yeah, it's very clear that the speedrun is fake. What is with fake speedrunners? He cleanly separated the cobblestone evenly into two. So yeah, I'm aware this speedrun is fake. It's just so funny that I had to show it to you. After the speedrunner gets their very legitimate loot, there is a very sudden cut. Even though the timer is exactly the same, they've lost a ton of hunger, and they have 2 hearts. So what in the world happened in between? I don't know. And I'm pretty confused here because they have full diamond gear. Why are they going up to this tree and breaking it? And that's when you hear the speedrunner say this.
This is the best tree in the game.
This is the best tree in the game. Well, come on, what are you talking about? Why is this the best tree in the game? Come on, buddy, are you serious? What in tarnation? Yeah, the best tree in the game miraculously dropped obsidian and flint and steel. I think I missed a few updates, guys. I don't know. Well, after the speedrunners encounter with the best tree in the game, they approach this pig and they start hitting it. Until again, there is another abrupt cut with no change to their timer, and when they turn around, there is a stack of cooked chicken in front of them. First off, was 3 pork not enough? Second off, chicken and pig are 2 completely different things. Well, after this strange string of events, the speedrunner then moves on to building their nether portal. But unfortunately, this is just another speedrunner who does not understand the shape of a rectangle. They actually go inside this thing and light it with flint and steel. What in tarnation? And you could hear the speedrunner say this.
Frick, screwed it up again.
Yeah, I screwed it up again. How much time has this guy been wasting building nether portals? Well, there's another cut. It's nighttime. They turn around and they figured out what a rectangle looks like. So they light their nether portal and they enter the end. I mean, the nether. Oops. At which point, there is no loading screen. There's just another abrupt cut. The speedrunner is floating around in the nether like a goofy goober in creative mode, and you can hear him say this.
This isn't cheating. This is just helping out the speedrun.
This isn't cheating. think this is just helping out the speedrunner. Buddy, do you think we just blew in from Stupid Town? This is cheating. Well, after wasting tons of time, the speedrunner does find a nether fortress. I'm not sure how the speedrunner does not die to these blaze, because he just stands in front of them point blank and whacks at them like no tomorrow. Has this guy never played Minecraft before? Oh my goodness. By some miracle, they don't die. They get 3 blaze rods, and then they dig underneath the stairs, and they find even more blaze rods hidden away. Oh yeah, this is the handiwork of Mr. Blaze. Yeah, he always hides blaze rods underneath the stairs. Well, anyways, there is another sudden cut. When the speedrunner turns around, there are just tons of piglin hanging out in a hole, just sitting there. And when the speedrunner drops into that hole, they pick up a slew of random items. Gee, I wonder if they have enough ender pearls. Well, that'll happen very quickly. So the speedrunner builds another nether portal, and they return to the overworld. But once they are in the overworld, they start talking about triangulation, and now I have anxiety. Considering some of the other fake speedrunners I have seen have no clue what triangulation even means.
We're about to start the epic triangulation strat. I heard if you hyperventilate, it makes you run faster in Minecraft. And we arrived at the stronghold, just like that. 2 minutes on the clock.
And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner found the portal room. What in tarnation? So they fill the portal with eyes, and then they say this.
Got a little bit of extra eyes of ender.
Yeah, they just have a few extra eyes of ender, just a few. Yeah, just chuck those out, no big deal. Once they are in the end, there is no loading screen. They're in creative mode, and then they provide a very dramatic and fake reaction to being in creative mode, followed by this cinematic music just randomly starts playing.
Yo, wait guys, no way! Dude, there's a new glitch in the game. We can get creative mode when we fight the dragon, dude.
What is with fake speedrunners and this goofy cinematic music? While the speedrunner is just floating around like a goober breaking the end crystals, the cinematic music has a pause. You can very clearly hear that they are just playing 2 music tracks at the same time. It is so goofy.
Let's go. Sub 4 minutes, let's go. Boom.
And I'm sorry, but I must be so unobservant. I just noticed now, when did their timer start going backwards? I feel so stupid. Well, it's honestly good news to see that their timer is going backwards, because this guy wastes so much time trying to figure out how to kill the Ender Dragon with a command. It is just sad. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game at 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And I honestly just find it so funny how they now have 3 songs playing at the same time. The credit music, this goofy cinematic song, and the stupid dream speedrun music.
I'm so glad. Sub 4 minutes.
Don't let this guy edit your videos, that's all I'm saying. This speedrun starts off on the world selection screen, and we could see 2 new save files hanging out on their screen. Speedrun moment or renew to and never mind. I don't even know, should I even say that? Well, the speedrunner creates their new world, putting their difficulty into easy mode, which as far as I know is okay. But what's not okay is them enabling cheats. And then when they go on to create their world, Minecraft gives them an error saying these settings are using experimental features. So now I'm kind of scared. What exactly are we about to witness here? Regardless, their loading screen does look normal. They spawn in and everything is as expected here. They spawn in front of some cows, they hit some cows, they get some beef. They actually spawn right in front of a pillager outpost and next to a village, which is very lucky, especially for random seeds. So the speedrunner starts approaching this village. On their way to the village though, they just waste so much time trying to kill this chicken, and wow, this guy has horrible aim, almost as bad as the other speedrunner in this video. I mean, come on, buddy, how difficult is it to hit a chicken? Well, thank goodness the speedrunner does eventually reach the village. While they are in the water, they take a screenshot by accident. I don't know if it was by accident or if they just thought underwater looked pretty. And once in the village, everything looks normal. The speedrunner enters a house, they break a bed, but hang on a second. When they're approaching this next house, the door is already open. And as far as I know, villagers always close the door behind them. So what in tarnation is going on here, buddy? There's only one way we're gonna find out. Never mind, it's just a load of apples. Nothing unusual here. But hang on a second, what is the speedrunner doing? They're just sitting there, wasting tons of time, until eventually, after wasting almost an entire minute, there is a very abrupt cut where it says set own game mode to survival, and the speedrunner picked up those 8 apples. But hang on a second, what is this in their inventory? I am pretty sure this is not a vanilla item. Well, I don't know, there's only one way we're gonna figure out what in tarnation this item is. So the speedrunner closes the chest, they break this bed, they go into another house, they break another bed. All normal things that would happen in a speedrun here. Until the speedrunner enters this one particular house, they approach this chest, they decide to start breaking it. And tell me if you notice what just happened. I'll play it again and tell me if you see it. Okay, you still didn't see it? I'm gonna go frame by frame here. After the chest is broken, there is everything you'd expect coming out of it. Some bread, maybe some grass seed, the chest itself. What is that? I am so confused. I want to know what this item is. Hey, wait a second. What is this hole? Oh my goodness. That was just about the smoothest transition I have ever seen in my entire life. Are we still even in Minecraft? What is happening here? Yeah, this definitely looks like Minecraft. Is this Skyblock? Guys, I think I missed a few updates here. This is crazy. Minecraft has guns now. It's gory. Wheels is playing Counter-Strike 2. I'm sorry, Minecraft has a grappling hook now? What in tarnation? All right, I'm gonna be honest. This game actually seems very cool. Can someone in the comments please tell me what this is? After the speedrunner gets a combo of which, if I said this word, I'd probably get demonetized, they suddenly just wake up in the portal room in the stronghold with tons of ender pearls and tons of blaze rods. But that does not help the fact that this guy doesn't even know how to craft blaze powder. Well, they do figure out how to make blaze powder, then they craft eyes of ender, and they fill the portal, entering the end. There's not that much more to this speedrun. I just thought that transition was really crazy, and I thought that game that they were playing was interesting, because the rest of the speedrun is really just them going into creative mode and unleashing a rampage on the ender dragon. Until they die. Yeah, I don't think anybody taught this guy how to use beds in the end. Rookie mistake. And this speedrunner is just back on their nonsense again. And then they die again. But I guess the Ender Dragon died too, so they beat the game, right? In totally world record time. I am not messing with this guy. That was legitimate.
It's the newest Minecraft feature! Oh my goodness, she filled the portal!
Fake Minecraft speedruns are hilarious because they're terrible at hiding the fact that they cheated. These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns. This speedrunner starts off in the air, then they approach a wish.com recreation of a tree, and when they break it, inside is a bunch of items. Planks, sticks, and apples. Buddy, who are you trying to fool here? So they make a crafting table and craft some tools. A pickaxe, an axe, a shovel, and wait, what was that? You can hear the sound of someone breaking blocks. Well, they walk towards the sounds and there's a gigantic hole. The speedrunner jumps down this suspicious ditch and they fall directly into an ancient city. What in tarnation? They try to make a stone pickaxe using tough blocks, but it doesn't work. And all of a sudden, cobblestone just appears out of thin air. Okay. They craft a stone pickaxe and mine a ton of iron ore. But how are they gonna smelt that iron ore? Well, more cobblestone is just pooped from the sky. So they craft a furnace, make an iron pickaxe, and then they conveniently find diamonds. They leave the ancient city and on their way out, they walk right past a warden. And it just stands there. The speedrunner runs through a lush cave, places their furnace, and they waste a ton of time smelting their 4 stacks of iron. But it's okay, because their portal just starts making itself. The speedrunner suspiciously walks to a specific area of the cave, but keep a close eye on their experience levels. There's an extremely subtle cut, and they walk back to their magical nether portal, and out of nowhere, the speedrunner suddenly has flint in their inventory. They craft flint and steel, light the portal, and enter the nether. And sometimes in the nether, pro speedrunners will utilize a strategy called render distance manipulation. This speedrunner tries to do that, but instead, they just start changing all of their Minecraft settings. Yeah, I don't think turning clouds on and off is gonna do anything for you, buddy. So he explores the nether, and wait, why is he walking off that cliff? What? Yeah, I kid you not, the path he's walking on is literally building itself. Well, he follows his yellow brick road, and after a while, it leads him right to a bastion. The speedrunner actually finds some really good loot in the bastion, like blocks of gold and golden apples. But I have a feeling the piglins here are paid actors, because the speedrunner throws iron ingots at them, and they get 13 ender pearls. Maybe changing the cloud settings did do something. They make their way out of the bastion and back to their magical pathway, heading back to the nether portal. And once the speedrunner is in the overworld, they start using questionable methods to locate the stronghold. They start placing random blocks and signs with numbers on them. This guy's a real rocket scientist, but he presses F3, lines his crosshairs up with a very specific angle, and throws an ender pearl. And as soon as he lands, he just starts digging straight down, violating the #1 rule in Minecraft. But someone's gonna have to explain to me what he did, because somehow it worked. Yeah, he dug straight into a stronghold. And on top of that, the end portal only needs 2 more eyes of ender. But wait a second, when did the speedrunner get this blaze rod? He makes blaze powder and crafts an eye of ender, completes the portal, and enters the end. And so far, maybe the speedrunner could have gotten away with cheating, but when they're in the end, they walk to the edge of the island and they find Iron Man? This one was legit. This speedrunner spawns in the middle of nowhere and runs around for a bit. But wait a second, the speedrunner only has 4 hearts and no hunger bar? What in tarnation? As they explore the world, they locate a village. The speedrunner rummages through the houses and finds some decent loot. An iron pickaxe, an iron sword, 3 obsidian. They continue exploring, and on their journey, they kill some pigs for food. But the pigs are getting thrown super high. Something's funny, and it's not my low subscriber count. After spending a few minutes punching pigs into the sky, the speedrunner conveniently finds a ruined nether portal, and they have just enough obsidian to complete it. Coincidence? I think not. But there's just one problem. They don't have flint and steel. Well, they somehow managed to jump onto the top of the nether portal, and on top of it is flint and steel. Thanks, Mojang. So they light the portal, enter the end, nether, and everything seems normal. Until I started listening to the audio for the speedrun, I noticed that every time the player jumps, he sounds like Mario? Nah, that can't be possible. So they waste a ton of time in the nether until they walk into a dead end. And watch what happens to see if you can spot what's wrong. The speedrunner very subtly made a cut to the speedrun, and after the cut, they travel directly to a bastion. In your dreams, buddy. They find some gold blocks, mine them, and turn them into ingots. Then they find a piglin conveniently trapped behind a wall. But instead of trading with it, they look up, break the block above them, and they get 3 ender pearls. Then they give their gold to the piglin. I don't think the speedrunner understands how trading works in Minecraft. After their completely legitimate means of trading, they continue exploring the nether until they reach a lava lake. Now, I was expecting them to, I don't know, bridge across it, but instead, yeah, somehow they just bounce their way across the nether. They eventually find a nether fortress and punch their way through some blazes, getting 3 blaze rods. And once again, they get right back to bouncing on the lava. But wait a second, is that a nether portal? Did the frame to this portal just grow legs and walk away? So he enters his bootleg nether portal and returns to the overworld. The speedrunner crafts eyes of ender, throws one, and goes in that direction. And on their way to finding the stronghold, they instead find a water slide? And it leads them directly to the stronghold. What in tarnation? So they find the portal and it has 2 eyes missing. Must be a lucky coincidence. So they fill the portal and wait, why are they going to third person? Is that Mario?
Here we go!
This baloney head just got the new Minecraft speedrun world record, playing as Mario. This speedrunner starts off by finding a village. They get frostwalker boots and test them out on the water. Then they mine some coal, harvest pumpkins, and walk on lava. Wait, this is the wrong footage. This is the luckiest speedrun I've ever seen. They start off right outside of a desert temple. The speedrunner breaks this tree, and this must be a new 1.19 feature, because under this tree is buried a treasure chest. They find 64 oak logs, and the speedrunner says this.
Yo, I think this is like 1 in a billion chance.
So they enter the desert temple from the top of it, but while they're breaking the block, they have even more to say.
Seems like it's looted.
Yeah, it was definitely looted, buddy. We know you removed this pressure plate. They jump to the bottom and find stupid lucky items. Netherite armor, a diamond pickaxe, and 64 notch apples. The speedrunner breaks through the TNT, and they find diamond blocks, but it gets worse. Beneath the diamond blocks is the end portal. What in tarnation? Well, despite this speedrunner's miraculous luck, they waste a ton of time digging back up to the surface. Right outside of the desert temple is a ruined nether portal, and the loot inside of the chest is questionable. A netherite hoe? Okay. But they do get obsidian, a fire charge, and more notch apples, as if 64 weren't enough already. So they fill in the nether portal, but again, they waste a ton of time trying to find iron and flint. So the speedrunner searches the temple again, and after a few minutes, they finally realize they can use the fire charge to light the nether portal. This is painful to watch. So they light the nether portal and enter the end, nether. And you know, it looks pretty normal. There's some netherrack, some trees, a chest that says says do not take, but we don't have to worry. This speedrunner's a good guy. He's not gonna cheat. And he opened the chest. Also, there's ancient debris right in front of them, but they're so good they don't even need it. So the speedrunner returns to the overworld, and again, they go back to their desert temple, diamond shrine, end portal bonanza. Fill the portal with eyes and enter the end. But wait a second, something's wrong, and I'll just let the speedrunner tell you.
Where's the Ender Dragon?
Out of nowhere, someone starts typing in chat saying, I already killed the Ender Dragon. You will have to face me. The speedrunner fights in a grueling battle against this Alibaba.com Ender Dragon, but halfway through, the Ender Dragon sets their game mode to survival. This is painful to watch.
Let's go! Dead, man, you're dead. You're actually dead.
And just like that, this speedrunner secured the world record 100% legitimately.
Subscribe and like.
This speedrun starts off and there is already something fake about it. No, it is not their hotbar. It's not their timer at the top left of the screen. You're gonna have to take a closer look to see what's fake about it. Yep, everything is normal here. The speedrunner just broke a single oak block on a tree. If you blink, then you must have missed it. There is a very sudden cut and the speedrunner expected us to not notice this. After that single cut, it is very clear that the speedrunner is in a completely different area, most likely to get an advantage like spawning closer to a village. So the speedrunner does get 5 oak logs, they hit a pig, getting 3 raw pork chops, and would you look at that, they are very close to a village. How lucky. There's something very unusual about this speedrun though. The speedrunner mounts a horse, hits an octopus, and then wait a second, they just stop moving. Then they go into the menu. And I could be wrong, but I have reason to believe that the speedrunner is going to be cheating so much that they are trying to throw us off of our trail. So keep an eye out for anything that is fake. They go into a villager house opening a chest and they get 10 apples and 4 bread. They then proceed to break 5 beds and make a mental note of that number for later. You'll see why soon. Now this next clip is very, very important. Not only is there a second village in the distance and a ruined nether portal, how lucky. Watch this next segment and I bet you won't notice what's wrong with it. Yeah, did you notice it? At first glance, it appears as if this speedrunner has jumped, stopped briefly, and then continued running, right? But if we zoom in on the top right corner of the screen and go frame by frame, you can see that out of nowhere, 2 of these clouds turns into 3. So I could be wrong, but I have strong reason to believe that the speedrunner made a cut and was doing a ton of goofy nonsense in the background. And you will find out very soon what they did. So naturally, of course, the speedrunner runs over to this ruined nether portal, and right off the bat, take a look at the screen on this freeze frame and tell me if you notice what has changed. Well, remember the number I told you earlier? 5 beds? Yeah, somehow they have 9 beds now. This guy has got me going like a detective. The rest of the speedrun is like this. Tons of faking, and they're pretty clever at hiding it. Now let's take a look at the items in the chest. 3 gold ingots, 3 flint, horse armor, a golden axe, a golden sword, and a fire charge. Remember these items for later. What happens next is going to shock you. The speedrunner just does nothing. They close the chest, opening it again. Their timer is running, they are wasting time. Then all of a sudden, they look over to the right, look back to the left, look up, look down, and then they open the chest again. But hang on a second, let me play that clip one more time in case you didn't see it. If we go frame by frame, right before they're about to open this chest again, you can see that the speedrunner opened up the chat box. And then on the very next frame, it looks like they just opened the chest again, but they are suddenly selecting apples instead of pork chops. Now take a second look at what's inside the chest. Notice anything different? Yep, that is right. A single obsidian block has appeared out of thin air, which gives me reason to believe that somewhere in that segment, there was was a very sly cut. They went into creative mode and put that obsidian block in the chest. Well, get this. The speedrunner takes the items out of the chest, taking their sweet old time, and they use their 2 obsidian blocks to complete the nether portal and light it at a world record pace of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But hang on a second there, Buster. You missed yet again another fake goof. If I rewind the footage to when the speedrunner first arrived to the ruined nether portal, it is very clear that to the left of them is a crying obsidian block. But then after they take the items out of the chest, somehow that crying obsidian becomes regular obsidian. This guy is gonna try and fake his speedrun, and I am not gonna let him get away with it. Well, they light the nether portal with the fire charge, entering the nether, and everything does seem normal here. They don't have chat disabled, which I think is a good sign. Maybe this guy isn't faking his Minecraft speedrun. Nope, hang on a second. They just cleared their chat history. Yep, they are a big stinky cheater. Now, these next few moments, you are really gonna have to pay attention here. Watch this clip, and I hope you'll be able to catch what is fake about it. If you didn't notice, going frame by frame, it is so painfully obvious that the speedrunner made a very subtle cut, trying to make it look like they were moving their camera around, and immediately after that cut, the speedrunner by accident falls into this ditch, then traveling in a very specific direction. And if I freeze frame the speedrun footage right here, and you bring your attention to the bottom left of the screen, yes, I kid you not, by some miracle, they spawn directly above a bastion. And I could be wrong, but I think that sudden cut earlier, the speedrunner could have possibly spawned the bastion beneath them with a command. Or maybe they're just lucky. Well, pay close attention to these next few moments. It is packed with goofy fakeness. The speedrunner takes their oak planks, making a crafting table, exploring the bastion for just a few moments until they come across this single piglin. They get in a vicious battle with this piglin until, I kid you not, the piglin just disappears. Huh? Yes, and then the speedrunner takes one step forward, and if you can't see it, I'm gonna point it out at the bottom of the screen. What in the world did that piglin drop? A netherite chest plate, diamond pickaxe, and 2 golden blocks? In your dreams, buddy. Yes, that cut was painfully obvious. The speedrunner was very clearly trying to hide the fact that they made a cut, and somewhere in between that footage, they dropped golden blocks, netherite gear, and a diamond pickaxe. So the speedrunner turns those golden blocks into 18 golden ingots, and they continue roaming around this bastion until they find themselves cornered by a piglin with a crossbow. The speedrunner has no other choice. They begin throwing their gold ingots to distract this angry piglin from attacking, and the trades look very normal here. 10 nether quartz, and they continue throwing their gold ingots at the piglin until something seems very, very off. If you didn't notice it, I'll play the clip one more time. Yes, even though going frame by frame, the timer does not change, the top right of the screen looks normal, and even the piglin doesn't look much changed. In a single frame, the speedrunner suddenly has 2 nether brick and a fire charge in their inventory, which begs the question, why would the speedrunner put a cut here? Well, just wait a few seconds and see what happens when the piglin walks away. Yes, that's right. Out of thin air, the piglin drops 8 ender pearls and 2 blaze rods beneath them. How convenient. Look, the speedrunner is clearly cheating here, but I can't quite figure out why they would give themselves such a specific number of items. But don't worry, we're gonna find out later. After the speedrunner gets what they needed from the piglin, they go on a slaughtering rampage. And well, this next moment is just embarrassing. You're gonna make sure you don't miss this one. The speedrunner digs directly up with the hopes of escaping the bastion, but unfortunately, the speedrunner attracts a horde of piglins, and going frame by frame, they are clearly about to die. Well, you know what? Let me just show you the whole clip. It is priceless. Yeah, that's right. The speedrunner made a sudden cut. It is very clear that they died. We don't know for sure, but I have no idea how they would survive that. And they're really playing it off like nothing ever happened. They approach the wall, escaping the bastion, and they do waste a little bit of time trying to find their way back to the nether portal, but keep a close eye on what is happening while the speedrunner is digging through this netherrack. It is very unusual. They are running short on time, quickly approaching 5 minutes, and while they are mining, this happens. In case you didn't catch it, going frame by frame, there is a very obvious cut, and did the speedrunner really think we wouldn't notice this? The amount of netherrack they have in their inventory increases by 7 blocks, and after this painfully obvious cut, just take a wild guess as to where they end up at. Yep, that is right. Directly back to the nether portal. What a coincidence. I think we can safely assume they got lost, made a cut, potentially going into spectator mode to figure out where in tarnation they were. Real smooth, buddy. So the speedrunner returns to the overworld. They open the chest. It is empty, as it should be. But again, are they just trying to distract us? Well, the answer to that is yes. Upon re-entering the overworld, the speedrunner is swimming in the ocean back to land, breaking 2 major rules in the game of Minecraft: digging directly down and digging while they are drowning themselves. Well, after almost dying, they finally get some smarts, equipping their shovel. Wait a second, when did they get a diamond shovel? Can someone fill me in as to when that happened? I am so confused. Well, I guess they have a diamond shovel now. They put a netherrack block above them so that they can breathe. Nice work. And they dig straight down. But only after a few blocks, the speedrunner stops digging down and they face forward. Interesting. Wow, would you look at that? What a good guess. Are those stone brick blocks I see the same ones that appear in a stronghold? What a coincidence. Nope, never mind, I was wrong. Just a fluke, just a false alarm. It doesn't look like the speedrun actually found the stronghold. Nope, hang on a second. Why are they mining this block? Oh no. Is that stone brick? Okay, I was right all along. The speedrunner mined directly into the stronghold. What a lucky guess. The stronghold is right under our nose. And you know what? I'm honestly surprised here. The speedrunner begins mining into what seems like completely random blocks, but what they are actually doing is searching for hidden walls, which are actually a thing in strongholds. Well, after no luck of finding any hidden walls, the speedrunner begins adventuring into what seems like a completely random direction. They would have to get very lucky to find the portal room from here. Are you kidding me? Yes, that is right. The speedrunner finds the portal room just floating in the middle of nowhere, and upon entering the portal room, take a mental note here that they got very unlucky by finding a portal with no eyes in it. Remember that for later. They break the spawner, getting into a vicious battle, eating their steak. Then the speedrunner crafts blaze powder, making 4 eyes of ender, but unfortunately that will not be enough for them to fill the portal with eyes. Huh? Oh brother, does someone want to fill me in? Out of nowhere, there must have been a sudden cut because the portal suddenly is filled with 8 eyes. I am so confused. Well, the speedrunner fills the portal with their 4 eyes of ender, doing a 360 into the end portal with style, and upon entering the end, the speedrunner throws their ender pearl onto the end island, and as soon as they land onto the island, take a second to look at the screen and tell me if you notice what just happened. Don't see it? Let me point it out for you. If we go frame by frame, the chat box has completely disappeared. Usually it fades out slowly, and on top of that, do you see what is happening at the top right of their screen? If we zoom in here, it looks like that is endstone, but no, it is very possible that is a pressure plate. Watch this next segment very closely and listen to the audio. I sure hope you notice what is going on. Yes, that is right. You can't make this up. The speedrunner is so bad at this game that they have to cheat at speedrunning. And how are they doing it? They are stepping onto these pressure plates, which most likely have a command block beneath them that spawn ignited TNT on the top of the obelisks, breaking the end crystals, doing all of the work for the speedrunner. How convenient. Well, after the speedrunner has stepped onto all of their pressure plates, breaking the end crystals, they get their beds ready to defeat the Ender Dragon and beat the game in potentially a top 10 Minecraft speedrun world record. The dragon is descending. The speedrunner throws their Ender Pearl over to start attacking the dragon. Wait, hang on a second. Why are they going the opposite direction? Oh no. Is that another pressure plate? Yeah, that's right. The speedrunner is destroying the Ender Dragon with more spawned TNT until they get the dragon's health down by a quarter, and the dragon just floats up into the sky, nowhere to be seen ever again. The speedrunner is very confused, looking around, wondering what in tarnation just happened, until the dragon returns miraculously. The speedrunner steps back onto their pressure plate to beat the game and get that sweet, sweet world record, and something is just very wrong here. The dragon will not perch. Oh wait, no, it's about to perch. Never mind. Oh no, wait a second, they got some damage on it. Never mind. Well, this is very unfortunate. The dragon flies away. The speedrunner is beyond 8 minutes. They have lost their spot in the top 10. The dragon is just glitching around. He's doing a ton of dillying, a ton of dallying, and he disappears off into the distance. A whole minute goes by. The dragon begins to perch again. The speedrunner is on home base, triggering the TNT, until, tell me if you notice it, from the top of the screen, a second Ender Dragon descends from the heavens. What in tarnation is happening? The second dragon pushes the first one out of the way. They are literally battling each other like two cats in a WrestleMania match, and they both just ascend into Valhalla. This speedrunner is never gonna beat the game. This is just so sad. Until out of nowhere, both dragons are perched. The second one is dead. The first one flies into the sky at 1,000 kilometers per hour, and they beat the game. Nope, never mind. No, they did not. The original Ender Dragon's health bar is still at the top of the screen. Despite that though, they pretend to jump in the portal, and there is a cut to the end game credits. That was so goofy. Holy cow, this speedrun is a load of barnacles. Bottom left of the screen, it is very clear to see that they are using Forge, and they have 17 mods loaded. I am terrified. Things get even worse. If you take a look at their most recent worlds, they have Super, Super 2, Super Race in all caps, and then the most recent one is Fake Speed Ran, which is in creative mode, has cheats enabled, and they select that one. And their intro is just ridiculous. Listen to their microphone.
Hey dude, so today we're speedrunning Minecraft and stuff, yeah!
Right off the bat, the speedrunner spawns in, and we can tell that the first mod they have installed is a minimap, which scares me because the last time I saw a speedrunner have a minimap, they pulled out a nuclear bazooka and destroyed the Ender Dragon. Well, things do seem normal here. They approach this tree, they break it. Oh no. That is a chest, and inside the chest is an infinity gauntlet. Okay, I know this one is fake. It was just funny. It made me chuckle. No, never mind. This one was legit. This speedrun, holy cannoli, you are in for a treat. The beginning is honestly just awkward. It takes forever to load, and you can hear their microphone. It's just awkward silence. There is a certain point where you can hear the speedrunner just incessantly tapping on their screen, hoping that it makes it load faster. Now hang on a second though, they load in, but did you see what just happened? If we go frame by frame, it is very clear that they spawned in, there's a villager in front of them. But the next frame, they're in a completely different location. They're selecting the 4th slot on their inventory, and oh no. Are they playing this game on a tablet? That is one of the 7 deadly sins. Well, the speedrunner enters this villager house, then they close the door, then they open it and leave the villager house, then they close the door again. Buddy, are you okay? Was that one of those, like, old school video game glitches where you're using the Game Shark and you have have to press A 3 times, then B 2 times? I don't know. Well, the speedrunner locates a blacksmith. They enter the house, opening the chest inside, and the loot looks very, very normal. Some oak saplings, 3 iron leggings, a golden ingot, 4 obsidian. This is great news. Everything is looking very normal. So the speedrunner puts on their new iron leggings, and I love how every time they enter or exit a house, they have to close the door behind them. Buddy, this is a fake speedrun. There is no space for manners here. And would you look at that, in the distance, they locate a ruined nether portal. How convenient. And even from this far away, you can see that they have just the right amount of obsidian to fill in that portal. Yeah, what a strange coincidence. They open up the chest outside of the ruined nether portal. And again, the loot is looking very, very normal. There's some golden boots, there's some golden sword, a flint and steel, some iron and golden nuggets. But the real question is, the enchantments on the armor and the weapon, are they legitimate? Fire protection 4, soul speed 3, sharpness 5, looting 3. Is this possible? I don't know, you tell me. Well, the speedrunner equips their new golden boots, and by some miracle, using a touchscreen, they are actually able to fill in the nether portal. I'm so confused because it looks like they are so far away. The speedrunner fills in those last 2 blocks of the nether portal, and oh my goodness, this might be the best player on a tablet I've ever seen. Usually it's this infuriating experience, but this actually is not too bad. Nothing here is looking too fishy. They light the portal, good for you, and just like that, the speedrunner is entering the nether. Hang on a second though, something here is funny. If I play this footage back, the loading screen freezes and the audio cuts out, but no big deal, everything here is looking normal. Luckily, the speedrunner does spawn right in front of a bunch of piglins, so they put their golden ingots down. Hang on a second. Where did the speedrunner get 128 golden ingots from? Because last time I checked, if I rewind the footage, they entered the nether with 1 golden ingot. What a load of barnacles. So the speedrunner is trading with these piglins. All of a sudden, they go into the menu and they start changing their personal game mode, but they don't do it. I'm not sure what the speedrunner was trying to do, but he was very clearly tempted to go into creative mode. I'm watching you. Honestly, the next few moments of this speedrun are very, very boring. If you listen to the audio, it's just a bunch of piglins snorting. In the speedrunner's microphone, you can hear a dog barking. The trading process here is mind-numbingly boring. It would be more exciting to watch paint dry. Hang on a second though, did you see that? There was a very obvious cut. Then the speedrunner opens up their inventory, and it's suddenly full of all of this new golden ingots. Oh, brother. They were cheating before, but 2 stacks of golden ingots just was not enough for them. Well, the show must go on. The speedrunner throws even more golden ingots into the hole with the piglin, and this next moment, we are going to have to analyze it frame by frame. If I go slowly here, you can see at the bottom right corner of the screen, there is something green going on down there, and it's not St. Patrick's Day donuts. Yeah, that's right. The speedrunner drops into the pit, and not only do they get 16 ender pearls, but they also get 16 blaze rods. The only thing I can conclude here is that their last cut, they put the blaze rods and the ender pearls behind the piglin so that you would never be able to see it on the ground. What in tarnation? Well, I guess just like that, the speedrunner has everything that they need, so they go into the portal and return to the overworld. And right off the bat, things are looking even more conspicuous. There is a single dirt path block just hanging out in front of them. So the speedrunner approaches this very obvious block, breaking it, and beneath it is a chest. And inside that chest, oh come on, you gotta be kidding me. This guy was doing such a good job at hiding the fact that he was cheating, and out of nowhere, he brings out the motherlode. Full netherite armor and gear, 4 totems, enchanted golden apples, end portal frames and eyes, 6 beds. Buddy, you are gonna need a lot more than 6 beds to defeat the dragon. Wait, why are they closing the chest? At this point, I am so confused. The speedrunner looks up into the sky, and they waste a whole 30 seconds very, very slowly throwing things out of their inventory. Is this guy okay? I kid you not. They spend the next 5 minutes transferring the items from the chest into their inventory. This is just embarrassing. And what in tarnation is a potion of creative mode? By some miracle, the speedrunner is actually able to put down the end portal frames onto the ground. What an achievement on a tablet. They fill the portal with eyes, and they enter the end. And remember how just a second ago I said what in tarnation is a potion of creative mode? Well, you're about to find out. Tony, roll the clip.